Hey, welcome to the Writing Channel. I'm Nick Cole, and tonight we are going to talk about writing, and we are going to talk about productivity and how to get productive and how to increase your productivity and how to actually get to that point where you have written a novel. Let the show begin. All right, you're probably wondering what's going on tonight. Like I said, we're going to talk about how to be more productive in writing, because let's be honest and let's face it, that's probably the thing that's keeping you back from writing a novel. Like, you got ideas, you probably made notes, you probably know the beginning and you probably know the end. You probably already cast the movie in your head, what your book is going to be like. And it stars Zach from Saved by the Bell and Matt Damon, buddy comedy. I don't know. I know we're pushing to YouTube and we're pushing to Twitter tonight just to see how that works and how that goes. But let's talk productivity and how to be more productive. The first thing that we can ask is, do you want to be more productive? Do you want to write a book and then have people read it? Well, the first thing that's going to, hey, everybody that's coming online, this is the live show, Kerrigan, hello. Hello. Well, yo, Richard King, yeah, let me check the chat, get my chat up and running so that I know what's going on, and we can work it out. Oh, no, now I can see if I get any questions. But one of the first things that you need to decide if you're going to be more productive about writing is, are you willing to commit to being more productive about writing? And the easiest thing that I can say that can unlock this for you is just to say, listen, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You have the time to write. If you're saying, like, I don't have the time to write, that's probably not your biggest problem. I can tell you what your biggest problem is. Your biggest problem is you probably don't have a place to write. But you might be saying, oh, I go to work in the morning, come home late at night, I have family obligations and everything like that. Well, I mean, at best you're working 8 hours a day. So that leaves 16 more hours that you can get writing done. Okay, you're probably not working 7 days a week, right? So you know that you can. Hey, Tony Cotillo, how you doing, man? You know that you can be writing more. So one of the key unlocks that I can give you tonight is probably going to fix that. Like, if you're having problems finding time to write because you have work and you have family obligations and you're also tired and you've got to eat and you've got to work out and everything like that, one of the first hot fixes that I can give you is go ahead and make a place to write. Now, I know we all have that big, giant, idea where we're going to have a writer's studio. We're going to have the Stephen J. Cannell office with the typewriter and the wood and the view of the farm outside. And we're going to have the writing sweater on and a pipe and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I have written 50 novels. I still don't have that stuff. I write in my garage. I used to write in a car on a street in LA. I've written in green rooms. I've written in hotel lobbies. I've been kicked out of more places writing than I've been kicked out of bars when I used to drink. That's the truth. So if you're telling me that, like, you don't have enough time to write, the hot hack fix that I would give to you is that most likely what you have is you don't have a place to write. Leo, thank you for supporting the chat over here on Rumble, even though we're pushing to YouTube tonight and Twitter. Thank you so much. $50. Coffee is safety here. If there is no coffee, there is no safety. This is a Talker Brew message. If you don't know who Talker is, go over and check out Forgotten Ruin, Ranger Coffee, Smash, Monsters. What would happen if U.S. Army Rangers ended up in D&D? But one of the things when people tell me they don't have enough time to 9 times out of 10, I can tell you, it's because you don't have a place to write. And I know that, like I said, the Stephen J. Canal Library, Crow, thank you so much for supporting the chat. $10, tacos, tacos, tacos. The question is, Crow always says, what are you going to do? Is there tacos or no tacos? It's the only difference. And we can apply this thing. It doesn't matter. You just got to write. Leo, 5 subscriptions to the chat. Thank you. I think a lot of people are going to get distributed that. They really seem to appreciate that. That is very cool. Thank you guys so much for supporting the chat. But like I said, you may not be able to have a dedicated room. It's probably not a good idea to write around the fan, unless you truly love them and they're respectful. But sometimes I game with some of you and I can hear the fam in the background and they are not respectful of your alien killing time. They're doing stuff in the background. So what I might suggest is, if you're going to be serious about being productive, let's go ahead and build a writing space. And a writing space can merely be that laptop. Do you have a laptop? Do you have like a notebook? Or you can use a pen and paper? Like, if we just start with like how we are going to write is the writing space, then you're immediately going to get more productive. Why? Because you just made a writing space. You have a dedicated laptop, you have a dedicated computer, you have a dedicated yellow pad. Whatever it is, you have that now. Okay. Probably don't write down in the common room. Don't write around everybody else. Don't write where you're going to get distracted. If you can only get like 20 minutes, go sit in your car. Everybody's got a car. Go sit in the car and write for a few minutes. 20 minutes will probably get you about 200 to 500 words, I bet you. And we've talked in here about writing, looking back, just write, get the content out. You get from, it was a dark and stormy night to the end. And then we'll fix it in editing. But before we can do any of that, or you can be more productive, we must, no Sparky, no myth, no legend, just good old hobo Nick here, downloading everything I can to you. Thank you for showing up, Sparky. I truly appreciate this. So the first thing to do in being more productive is solve the problem. What are you going to write on? And then solve the problem of I'm going to get a little bit of isolation, right? You can go into the closet. You can go back to your bedroom. Generally, people don't hang out in the bedroom all day. So if you got a family, you could probably run back to the bedroom, sit down on the edge of the bed and type your alien devouring a Starship Cruise. You could go out back. I have written in this garage. It was freezing cold during COVID. I was swooning with COVID fever or whatever I'd been poisoned with. And I wrote a book that got a dragon award. And my fingers were numb. It was so cold. So again, I know we want everything cushy, but that'll come later. But one of the things that you need to do to be more productive, it's kind of a no-brainer here, but if you'll just show up to your writing space with something to write with, you will write a book. That's the first thing. You got to stop thinking about it. You got to stop saying, oh, how do I do this? Or, blah, blah, blah. I can tell you, it's going to be ugly. You're going to suck. I do. I've written 50 novels. It's ugly. I suck. We will fix that in editing. But the main thing is you just start writing. The best thing to do to start writing is get a dedicated writing machine, whether it's a yellow pad or a computer. And then now that you have that, get yourself some space. Get yourself, some space away from the crazy, space away from the family, space away from social media. And the next thing I was going to say is you're probably going to have some sacrifice. If this dream of writing a book is important to you, and I can tell you right now, it's important. One, the first thing you're going to get out of writing a book is you're going to answer the question that you've been asking yourself, can you write a book? The second thing that you're going to get is you're going to get a sense of completion, a sense of satisfaction. The third thing that you're going to get, especially in these trying economic difficult times, is you're going to get a new source of income. Because the coolest thing in the world is Amazon has this thing called KDP, and you can take any book and you can put it up there, whether it's good or bad. And if you think that's a criteria for whether it'll make money, there have been some horribly written books on Amazon that have made a ton of money. So if you're looking for an extra grind like our dads used to have in the 70s, going to paint houses or sell cars or whatever they did on the side, like writing is a great side gig money. Will it replace your income? Probably not. But if you do it for about 3 to 5 years, I bet you could replace the average income. And I've done other streams on the writing channel over on Rumble, which I'll be moving over to YouTube videos and everything like that. I break down how, like, if you start writing books, if you start building a platform, if you start doing covers, you will eventually make enough money to actually have a normal income, 5 figures, writing books. You can keep your day job and double your money, but you keep doing this, or you write a really good book or get a good series, over time, you could probably make more doing this than a lot of us can make at our normal jobs. Me, especially being a parking lot attendant. So I say that to say that if you want to get there on this journey and you're watching the show for the first time, or you're finally just tuning in to listen to me, or you're just talking to everybody in the chat and having a good time, the one thing that I would say to you is, the first thing you got to do is answer the question, do you want to write a book? Just answer that tonight. And if the answer is yes, then the next question is, how are you going to write that book? And by how are you going to write that book, I mean, what is your dedicated machine to write that book? Do you have a laptop? Do you have a computer? Do you have a computer at work? Okay, you don't have any of those things. Guess what I wrote one of my first novels on? I was working as an intern at ESPN in New York City in the mailroom, and I wrote part of my novel on the label maker. I shit you not, I did. And when it was time to leave that job, I printed out several hundred pages worth of labels that had my novel on it. And I just kept doing it. So you want it? You'll find a way. Is it yellow legal pad? Is the back of envelopes? Whatever. The main thing is you'll fix getting it all typed up. You'll fix getting it in a format. You'll fix getting it edited. But if you're serious about writing a novel, you want to be more productive, you will find something to write with. Piece of paper, notebook, label maker, someone's back to tattoo your stuff on. I don't know, you'll find a way. And once you do that, the next question is, where are you going to do this at? You're going to need a little bit of privacy. You're going to need a little bit of quiet. I put on music. I put on these crazy noise cancellation headphones, and I play really wacky music, but I got to create a little distance between me and the world, because I don't know if you've noticed, the world seemed very crazy lately, which is great. Why is that great for writing? Because people are sick of the crazy and they'd like to live in Star Wars or D&D or murder mysteries or whatever. So it's really a great time to be a writer. So I'm going to answer that question. Do I want to be productive? 2, how am I going to be productive? 3, where am I going to be productive? If you answer those 3 things, do I want to? Yes. What am I going to be productive with? This piece of paper. And where am I going to be productive? 3. I guarantee you today, you will write that novel when you start doing that. And then you'll be the guy getting the cover. You'll be the guy hiring an editor. And then lo and behold, you'll have this one day where you go over to KDP and you hit publish and your book is up 2-3 hours later. And you call everybody on Facebook and you call your mom, and your mom's probably the first one that buys your book, which is a terrible thing that could happen to your book because it's a whole algorithm thing. Whatever, enjoy that moment. Be proud of that moment. I did it. You can print up copies. You can take them to the people at the bar or the work or the dumpster where you live. I don't know, but it's a pretty cool thing to write a book, and not everybody does it. If you're watching the show, you've probably thought to yourself, I want to write a book, but I don't know how to do it. Nick, are you living at Ground Zero in Crazyfornia? Yes, I live in California. This is where the asymmetrical war will take place, and I am here for it, and fish tacos. So that is the little, sermon for tonight. When I do office hours, if you're new to the show, I kind of try to download something I've learned about publishing, whether it's editing, whether it's about covers, whether it's about this kind of stuff, you can go back and watch all the videos on Rumble and the videos that I'm going to post over on YouTube. And I think Vanistan forever, Leo, 100%. John Clark, which is Tony Cotillo, focusing on writing, had helped me not hyper-fixate on how crazy the world is. It has truly been a welcome reprieve. That is the best comment you're going to hear tonight about writing and why writing is really fun. And remember, one of the things that you want to do with this writing is you want to have fun because it's fun. I don't know why my camera's doing the light. Because it's fun. Writing is fun. And if you turn it into work, and if you get all critical about it, and you get all crabby about it, you won't enjoy it. But here, like, you might be saying, like, I don't know what to write. I can fix that for you right now. Write the novel that you want to read. Everything sucks out there. We all get it. You know you've read a great book that you had a great time with. Just go ahead and write that book. Write the book that you've always wanted to read. It's a form of escapism. It can be monetized. I'm telling you, if you write the book that you want to read, no matter how ridiculous it is, you will have the best time. You will get addicted to that. You apply those three things. Do I want to be productive? How am I going to be productive? And where am I going to be productive? Then you will be productive, and you will actually write a novel that everybody will really, really, really enjoy. So the next thing that I do when I do this show, which is called Office Hours over at Rumble, but it is broadcasting on Twitter and YouTube tonight. Let me know if you want me to keep doing that in comments. Is I will now I'll open up the floor for people who want to come on and ask me their writing questions. And the way that I do that is I copy and paste tonight's stream link right here, if you'll just bear with me for half a hot second. And I will show it right there. So that's the StreamYard link. If you would like to come on and talk about your personal writing problems, I will be your Frasier friend. And we can do some therapy. You can ask me tips and tricks. You can ask me how to find the best cover artist. You can ask me for anything that you want to talk about with writing. And you can ask me to motivate you, and you can ask me to whip you. I don't know. But I know that when you first start writing, it can seem really scary. So all you want to do with that link right down there is just go ahead and copy that in your browser. And then you'll show up, and I'll invite you into the show. And you can say something wildly inappropriate. But writing's not that hard. It's just telling a story. And there's no rules. There really aren't. And anybody who tells you got to go to a school or you got to do this thing, you just have to be a good storyteller. And you wouldn't be watching this if you kind of weren't already a good storyteller. You may have been like stamped down a few times. You may have been kicked. Why do you want to write a story? And then you answer that question. Once you decide to do, you will begin the journey of writing. And I can teach you some things. I can't teach you everything. And I don't know everything, but I can get you started. And all I can do is say, you can do this and this and this. And then there's all these other questions that you got to answer in the publishing journey. Well, how do I write this book? Well, how do I rewrite this? How do I edit this book? How do I find a cover artist? How do I get it up in front of people? How do I market it? How do I build a platform so that I can capture the readers who've read it so I can sell them book 2? How do I avoid the critical mistakes of having success or having failure? I've had all of that. I can give you some advice. But all I can say is we're not getting anywhere in your writing journey unless you're going to answer that question tonight, which is, do I want to be productive? As in, do I want to write now? Just ask yourself that in your heart right now. Some of you, I know, are dabbling around novellas, short stories, and like dipping the toe in the water, and and you're handing it out to your friends, and you're saying the same thing every 14-year-old girl says. Am I pretty? Is this good? Should I keep doing this? And I can just tell you right now, everybody who knows you and loves you is just going to blow smoke. Oh yeah, it's great. You should keep doing it. You probably are terrible. It was really great when they first start. But if you decide to get good, then the only thing that you need to do is just keep practicing writing, and you will get better. I have gotten better. I used to be terrible. I've written 50 books: Galaxy's Edge, Forgotten Ruins, Strange Company, Goldman, The Wasteland. I've won 2 Dragon Awards. Like whatever validation you need, I've gotten it. And that doesn't mean anything. What means something is that you like telling stories, and you've decided to put it out. If you answer that question, now just tell me, how are you going to do that? You got a piece of paper? You got a laptop? How are you going to write this story down? You're like, I got a laptop. Okay, where are you going to do with that? I'm going to drive my car to the cemetery and sit there and write for an hour a day. You write for an hour a day, you'll get 2,000 words. And at the end of 1 month, you will have close to 60,000 words, which if you edit those words, rewrite it, will turn into 90,000 words, which is the size of a book. And you'll have a book. And then we can talk about what to do after that. So if you want to, does anybody have any questions in the chat? Does anybody want to come in? We have the most viewers we ever had. We have 57 people watching this right now. 58 people watching this. Like, this is big time. Because it's seen through StreamYard, you're watching it through Rumble. Rumble is showing the Rumble viewers. Twitter is showing the Twitter viewers. YouTube is showing the YouTube people. So going wide is what it's all about. Hey, Leo, didn't you want to come on and talk about your writing journey, buddy? Yeah, Timberby was going to come on tonight, but he couldn't come on. But he tried to come on last week. So, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's fun to write. It's not that hard. Some of the dumbest people I know are writers, including myself. Okay, Leo says he's going to come on. But Tony Cotillo, you could come on too. Someone said to me recently the difference, says Tony Cotillo, as John Clark 76, the difference between someone being someone, writing a novel, and being a novelist. I 100% agree with that. You've just got to finish the book. Until then, you're just like, you'll meet these people like, if you're a writer, you just say you're a writer. Cool beans, you're not a writer. I will call you a writer. You may call yourself a writer. I give you permission when you type the end on a book. Not a short story. You're just writing short stories. You just say, hey, I'm just working on short stories. I'm trying to work up to this. Cool. Are the awards really worth the headache of all the backroom crazy? I don't know. I never participated. I don't participate in awards. I don't go to conventions. I've gone to Comic-Con. I've been invited to some other conventions. I had some hairy experiences just because of how divisive things are. I just don't want awards anymore. They don't do anything for you. Nothing changes. The best award is getting paid. The best award happens every month when Amazon sends you a royalty check. And your audio producers, publishers, and you take your wife out and you get her to make maybe a nice something pretty. And you pay all your bills. Like, that's paying your bills. That is way better than a Dragon Award. I guess for a moment before anybody comes on, we can talk about the writing. And I could just say, avoid it with a plague, generally. Generally, it's a nasty community. They're very unhappy people. There's a whole cancel thing going on over there. The goal that you want to have for being a writer is you don't want to know other writers. And I know when you first start out, you're like, oh, I'm going to meet all, hey, Jay Canada, how you doing, boss? Thinking about you, going through the thing you're going through, brother. It'll all be okay. Hang in there. Medusa and I are praying for you. The writing community is not what you're looking for if you're going to sell books. Writers don't buy other writers' books. Readers buy your books. When I first published The Old Man in the Wasteland in 2011, I was the first month I had it up, I sold 2 copies. And then the next month, I'm so sorry, Jake Canada. I'm so sorry. The second month I sold 8 copies. And I was like, man, I was reading this one blog by this writer, J.K. Conrad, great guy. And I was like, how am I going to get these sales and everything like that? By the fourth month, I was starting to sell 15,000 copies. And I say all that to say, like, you can go through these things, but it's a journey, and it's very exciting, but you're not going to get anywhere until you do the first thing, which is write a book. So that's why I wanted to start off tonight and say we can spin around the writer community, and we can talk about writing, and we can talk about conventions, and we can talk about all these crazy things. I'll bring it in just a second. But like, where you want to get as a writer is having all the readers who read your book on your Facebook page, on your Twitter feed, coming to your website. You want to know them. You don't want to know Jim Butcher. I know Jim Butcher. You don't want to know Jay Stansbach. I know Jay Stansbach. You don't want to know Jay and Cheney. You don't want to know, as a writer, the other writers. I want to know the trucker who's listening to my audiobook. I want to know the Navy guy who's coming into town and I get together with him for a cup of coffee. I want to know the readers, why they're reading the books. I have something to talk about with them. They're the ones exchanging money for what I'm willing to dream up. So that's the more important relationship than knowing other writers. But when you first start out, you get into this thing like, I'm going to join these writer boards, and like some of them are like Kindle boards, like just pure poison, awful. Some writing communities, it's like a constant witch hunt. The thing you want to do is, find a writer that you like and kind of on his board, things like that. Get to know people and just be like, hey, is it cool? I'm writing. Could I see if somebody wants to read my stuff? Sure. Like if you did that on any channel I have, any of you, if you want to come in here and ask somebody to read your stuff, I 100% support that. Go for it. And in time, you want to build your own social media channel so that people can come to you and say, hey, I really loved Warchimp 9. When will Warchimp 10 be ready? That's the goal. So I will easily distill this for you. It's readers over writers. You don't want to know writers. You want to know readers. And let's bring Leo in and let's talk about our feelings in a meaningful way. Leo, how you doing, boss?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great, man. It's awesome. Nice to see you out of jail. Did you make some friends?
I don't make friends. You know this.
Did you stick and move, Leo?
I did stick and move.
Okay.
So
how's your writing this week?
It's coming along. It's a little bit slower right now. And so I kind of followed the advice of keep it fun. Stay in that story and don't get overcomplicated. My problem is I just get so freaking verbose, right? So I've stopped. Less is more. That's one of the best pieces of advice. But I also, from your last week's show, when you showed how to outline, I've been doing that per chapter, what I want to do per chapter.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a little tiny thing. It's not the whole story that you did. But if anyone has missed last week, if you want to see how to outline a story, you need to check that out. Because that made where I wanted to go, so we know where the story is going to end. But getting to that story, that made it so much easier. So thank you.
I'll have the Medusa post a link in the comments from last week. But Outlining just, I used to not outline a lot. When I started getting a lot of book contracts, I suddenly had to outline. And when I started writing with a writing partner, we needed to follow an outline to stay on the thing. And I just learned, like, if you know where you're starting and you know where you're ending, and you know the things that you want to do that are awful to your character, then you'll write all that down, and it makes the writing so much easier and so much better. Hey, Jay Canada, we can do better for you than Ward Chimps. We will name a character after Dad in Strange Company 4 if you are cool with that, brother. And Plumber Dave, thank you so much for the. Let me see, I gotta look up the Twitter thing real quick, like. Plumber Dave, $100 to support the channel. Thank you for the advice you've given me. The show is about eschatology and being a person that also seeks truth in a world of darkness and lies. Thank you, brother. Coffee is on you tomorrow. What a coffee that is. I'm going to have the Turkish gold leaf press brewed by a bevy of harem beauties that I'll have to gouge my eyes out. Medusa will slay me, but at least I know that I've drank $100 cup of coffee, right? Maybe they're males. Maybe they'll have the studs there. I don't know, baby. No, we don't need the harem beauties. So the gold, we need the gold press. But outlining is the way to go, and it really helps you to think about your thoughts. And then the one thing I want to say to you is, like, I detected in there with you that there's a bit of self-criticism as you write. Why is that happening? Because it shouldn't be happening if you're listening to what I'm telling you how to write.
That is, Nick, that's part of my character, right? So I'm always in my professional world, I'm always having to double check what I'm doing, right? You can't but I don't get engrossed. But that is a part of who I am. I will always check back and, okay, am I screwing this up or am I doing this right? But I have lifted off a lot instead of editing before I move on. I've been learning to go with the flow, and that has been some of the best advice. And then when I go back through, I streamline it a little bit, but I'm going to trust that process as it goes through, because in that one edit, the one where I'll go back and go through that story, that's when I'll worry about cleaning things up.
So wait, have you typed the end on this?
Not yet. Well, okay, hold on. I've written the ending before I wrote the beginning.
Okay, have you glued the beginning and the end together with all the things that need to be in the story?
Getting there.
Okay, why are you editing?
No, well, because I get so verbose.
I know, but I told you, my advice, let's put it that way. So for anybody just newly joining, I don't believe in going and reading back in your first draft. I just would encourage you to just write all the way from the beginning to the end. And yes, it's going to be ugly. And yes, it's going to be messy. What I have found is if you go back and you edit and you read, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to be self-critical. You're going to be hard on yourself. And you know what happens? You're not going forward. You're going back. You're going to have to rewrite whatever you wrote. I promise you. The first novel I ever wrote, The Old Man in the Wasteland, the one that was selling 15,000 copies, I rewrote that 27 times.
Oh my.
So you're going to rewrite this, but you haven't typed the end yet, even though you wrote the end. And the reason that you're being self-critical is you're going back and you're reading back. Don't read back.
Okay. I will follow that advice strictly. I will
be happier.
Self-critical bullet and keep moving.
Hey, who cares? It's going to be ugly, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Mine's ugly too. I never read back. I just keep going until it's the end, and then I type the end and I go the end, and then I say good job, Nick, and then the next morning I get up and I just start rewriting it from the beginning. But so am I just saying that and there's no basis for why that works? Neil Gaiman said this. He said the reason the editing makes the novel so much more superior is because basically now you're rewriting the novel, rewriting the book, and you know everything that happens. When you're writing it the first time, you still don't know everything that's going to happen. You get surprised, all that kind of stuff. The brilliance of rewriting is now you can rewrite the novel knowing everything that's going to happen. And now you know, okay, this has got to come out. Okay, I got to explain this more. Your editing's way better. And when you like the way that Hemingway would write is he would write all day and he'd leave what he was going to start with tomorrow. And that was like priming the pump for him. He didn't go, okay, now I'm going to edit and see what a piece of shit I am and why I should go get a job as a monkey cage cleaner for writing this book. Like it sucks. It's ugly. Everybody, when you read back over your first draft, spoiler, it's awful for everybody. Only assholes sit there after their first draft and go, quality content. I really am the best. No, it's just garbage.
Right.
Tell the whole story and then rewrite the story.
So what that negative energy embrace the garbage.
Yeah, that negative energy isn't serving you.
Okay.
You know, so I get that some people, and I think you're like this, you're probably like the Medusa. You need everything to be compartmentalized and fixed and, you know, and we'll move forward. But you know how Elon Musk does things, right? He's an accelerationist. Do you know what accelerationists are?
Yes. Yep.
They go because it's more important to get somewhere, and then you'll fix it when you get there, than trying to build and build and build, and you learn from failure and everything like that. So those are my thoughts.
And they're good thoughts. It's good advice. You're the pro. I'm the newbie.
You're doing great. You're a veteran.
I appreciate it, but I just that first episode we did together, just that coaching, that cleaned up so much. Yeah. So much. Writing in big units. Now the party did grow, but I centered that story around the 7 characters, which was awesome advice. It was awesome advice to pare that down, kind of steal from the 7 Samurai or you know what I mean? And that totally works. So now anything else I bring in, that's part of the environment that I write, right? But that they are not the story.
Yeah, the one thing I would say for everybody, just to give you permission, like one of the things that new writers labor under is like, I've got to be wholly organic, and I've got to reinvent something. This story that, you know, I love, I'd love to write that story, but that story's written. I can't use lightsabers. I can't do all these things. And the thing that I would say to you is like, find what works and retell it. Like if you love The Black Company, then just write your own version of The Black Company. You can write The Black Company verbatim, not like Choker and all the characters in there but you could write your own version of that set in space, like I did with Strange Company. You know, like you can use things, and you can, like the Romans, you can use things that work in your writing. I do that a lot of time. I see something that I watch or I read and I go, that works, and I repurpose it for myself. The only reason you're not doing that is because you have an ego and you're trying to be great instead of trying to be like good. And there's an old saying, perfect is the enemy of good. You know what I mean? Like just get it done, get something up, get it going. And then the other thing is, like, sometimes there are things that we've seen in movies and TV and books and games. It's like, oh, that's so cliche. That's so true. Well, I'm here to tell you, cliche is because cliche works. The reason you see cliches is because that stuff works. And more often than not, the readers want it as simple as possible, and they want the things that are cliche, and that's actually going to serve your writing. And if you're really brilliant and you can outthink the cliche, then the cliche that you're going to use is going to be great. It's going to be well written. It's going to have a twist. But I'm telling you, don't waste time when you're writing your books trying to reinvent the wheel. So, all right, Leo, I've tortured you long enough.
I'm good with it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, boss. You the man. Thank you for the coffee. Much appreciated. All right, that was me. Does anybody else have some more questions? We can talk. We can answer. Rhodesium, he says, I do this all the time. The amount of ideas of borrowing. You're not wrong, brother. The borrowing is what made the Romans, and the United States, the United States. If you see something in literature or gaming or fiction, feel free to lace those boots up and wear them around, because they will serve your story. I don't know why my camera light keeps just randomly flashing. I don't have a light. I hope that's not annoying everybody in the entire world. But go ahead. If you want to come in, we got a few more minutes here. If anybody wants to come in, just paste this link down here into the chat, into your browser bar, and you can come in and ask me a question, and we will just have a gay old time, as they used to say. Did the Flintstones used to say gay old time? All right. Jay Canada, thanks. Brother, kind of lone wolf out here, never sure where I belong. You belong here. This is your tribe, buddy. It will get better. It takes 2 years, but you've got a bunch of friends here. Reach out and talk to anybody in the chat. A lot of great guys, and everybody's going through some rough stuff lately. So you are not alone. I know the enemy tries to get together and make us all feel alone, but you are not. And writing is a great way to, I think sometimes writing is a great way to put down the things that you have that you sometimes can't say out loud, but you can tell a story about it, or you can tell a story about somebody who's going through it. And there's a certain catharsis in that. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to turn it into a book and sell it, but I can tell you sometimes when you have what they call in acting the courage to reveal. Stephen King talks about this when he goes to family parties. He's like, I'm aware that I write things that disturb people and weird stuff. And he's like, you don't know how that is when I go to Thanksgiving and everybody around the table knows that I'm a weirdo. And he has that opportunity. And all of us writers have felt like that. Do you really want your parents to read what you're writing? Do you really want your wife to? Do you really want your coworkers to? I guess one of the things that you're going to have to get over the fact is that you will have to reveal who you are. And you're just going to have to get over that. And writing is a great way to get comfortable putting your stuff out there. If you can't do that, then maybe writing isn't for you. But there was a great film director, David Mamet, who wrote a book on acting. And he talked about having the courage to reveal, being like Joan of Arc signaling her last message through the flames as you're being burned alive. There are things that I've written in my books that are deeply personal, and I turned them into stories and I put them out there. There are things that other people have told me that are deeply personal, and like a vampire, I took them and I used them and I made money with them. Writing is about doing in front of everybody what we don't do in front of everybody. Whereas Tom Stoppard said, we're actors, we're the opposite of people. We do on stage what other people do off stage. Plumber Dave wants to come in. How you doing, boss?
Doing all right.
All right, you on the road?
Can you hear me okay? I'm on the road.
Solid copy, 5x5.
Roger that. Saw the podcast come up. I had some business to take care of, so I haven't tuned in yet, but I'm sure it'll be a wonderful surprise for tomorrow morning's commute.
Just laying it out there, laying down the truth. The podcast you're talking about is Control Alt Revolt on my Substack, which is more current events type stuff. And I think today I was talking about a Mandela effect, and that's one of the fun parts about being a writer is you can really get into some if you're going to write murder mystery books, you can get into the sort of forensic stuff. If you're going to write fantasy books, maybe you get into medieval combat or old words. If you're going to write science fiction, you start researching science. One of the best things to do is to take the things that you love and write about them because people like to read about that stuff.
Right. So I had a long drive today. I had to go from Buffalo, New York to Rochester, New York. So it's about.
Oh wow!
I was thinking about the idea for my book. And the idea was that it's a band of couriers called the Highwaymen, robbed that from Fallout New Vegas, and a little bit of Book of Eli sprinkled in there. And they go from the Ocean Legion territory to the destroyed San Francisco Baytown. They travel across the sea, then they get to Japan, and it's just way too long. Strange Company 2, great book. It took place in a course of, I think, like 48 hours.
It takes place of 48 hours in one location.
Yeah, and you stretch that to like 200,000 words, which
Pretty much.
wild. So I narrowed it down. I think they're going to go from the Ocean Legion to Baytown. My question, if I had to phrase it as a question, is how do you not put filler in, but stretch 200,000 words into 48 hours?
Well, I mean, the first thing that the first thing we got to keep in mind is we only want to write things that are going to serve the story. We never want to do filler. We don't want to burn things. I think there's a couple, when you're first starting out, there's a couple of mistakes that you can make as a writer because you're not confident. And like one of those things is to do filler. Another one of those things is to write from multiple perspectives. Like you're trying to tell a series of short stories about something. That's actually, I think, a better skill later. But I think if you start small and you tell you tell a good story that starts with a dark and stormy night, and the ending. The ending is Tina finds out that her husband murdered her best friend, whatever it is. And now you glue those two things together. Take care, Jay Canada. Everything will be okay. You glue those two things together. What you have now is, if we just do the Hemingway approach, which is journalism, all we're going to do is write who, what, when, where, and how. We're going to write who the person is in the story, what happened, where it happened, how it happened, and what's the resolution. So we're going to write, like Joe Friday said, just the facts. Okay, that's the framework of the story. But what happens is, like if you're writing your story, like there are other things that are going to need to come in to explain all the who, what, when, where, and how. And a lot of that is backstory. Now, you could just do an info dump, and you'll be all these writers who say, never do an info dump. It's absolutely, I don't mind info dumps. Sometimes I love info dumps. I've read some really great novels that were just nothing but info dumps. Like, again, anybody coming along and telling you hard and fast rules, there just aren't any. There's some best practices, but I've done one of the things you should never do, which is write a book in second person, and everybody loves that book. You know what I mean? So there's no rules. But I would say in your case, you got these four guys. They're involved in this conflict. They're going to go do this thing. Okay. Well, each of these guys is going to have a backstory. And that backstory, really, to turn this into, a book with a lot of twists and turns, is somehow going to intersect with either the personal drama that they have between them, the personal drama between them and the villain, or some hidden motivations that we might not know about that are going to play out. And you're going to have to tell in that backstory that story. You're going to one of the easiest examples to use of this that really people can understand is in Pulp Fiction, when the two hitmen are going to kill the dudes and get the whatever's in the briefcase, they are having a conversation about hamburgers in Europe. But they're telling you everything in that conversation about them. That's what that conversation is about. You find out that John Travolta likes to travel, that he's kind of a loadie, that he's kind of a hick. You find out that Samuel L. Jackson, he's a vegetarian because his girlfriend's a vegetarian. You find out that he's searching. You find out that he's more of the thinker. The other guy is just the consumer. The other guy hasn't traveled a lot, but he's a deeper thinker. So what we're doing in these sort of backstory chapters is we're telling you everything that we can about the character. You can do it as an info dump. You can do it as a commercial, as a conversation. You can have another character come in and tell you about that character. Well, I really hate, Steve. That guy's a jerk. Why is he a jerk? Well, he got my sister pregnant and then he ran off, and then you maybe play that scene or whatever and everything like that. So the framework of the story is who, what, when, and how. Like, who's involved, what happened, how it happened, where it happened, how we're going to resolve it. That's the framework of the story. But then there are all these other things that have to explain the backstory. How did the victim get involved? How did the villain get involved? What is the ticking clock here? What is the crisis? There's all these other, like, the concept that you want to use is not necessarily filler. The concept is one that comes from improv acting that I learned studying with the Groundlings in LA. The concept here is called explore and expand. So you take two of your characters. You've probably written some details about these characters. One of them has an eye patch. The other one uses the sawed-off shotgun. Why? How did eye patch guy lose his eye? Why does that guy use a sawed-off shotgun? Was it his grandpa's? Like you could just pick out details about your character and tell the story of why that is. It could be a flashback. It could be a conversation that they have while they're walking or driving. But this builds, and when you do these things, what you find is you're like, oh, this means something more in the story as it progresses. And then we might say, like, why does this guy hate the villain? I know that they're going to do this thing. I know that the villain stands in the way. But these two guys have a personal beef that has nothing to do with this. Oh, it turns out they were best friends a long time ago. And something went sideways. After you get past the who, what, when, and where, now we need to color. What we did is we drew the characters. Now we need to color them in. And that's what backstory is. Like when you watch football, you have a guy there calling the play-by-play, right? And then you have the other guy doing the color. Well, Marcus Demetrius, he went to Sac State and he did this. And, his mom was a single mother who was the world champion diver for the 1986 Olympics. Oh, wow, that's cool. That has nothing to do with the catch the guy just made. But now that you know that information, it makes you think more about that character. And we do the same thing in writing.
Right.
And as Leo tells you, I do info dumps and Forgotten Ruin all the time. I will just back out and be like, and this is the story of this evil magic item and how the Rangers found it and this wizard and this was lost by these lizard men and all this kind of stuff back in the day. So there are no rules. Does that help you?
Yeah. Side note, I really liked chapter 30, whatever it was, in book 9 about the Sour. The little expansion on who the Sour were.
Oh yeah, well they were who you think they were. They were. It was there in plain sight all along. And writing the end of Sut the Undying is one of my favorite things. And everybody, what I hope is that at the end of that, everybody goes and watches the original Fright Night, and then you can see what I'm talking about.
The original what?
Fright Night.
Fight Night. Okay.
No, Fright Night. Have you read the end of the book in Suspente?
I have not.
Okay. Okay. You'll read the end of the book, and then there's an 80s vampire movie called Fright Night.
Right.
And it's referenced.
Gotcha.
And then once you read the end of the book, you and your wife, your lovely wife, should sit down on a Friday night, make a big bowl of popcorn, and watch Fright Night, one of the best movies that ever came out of the 80s.
I'll put that on the list.
All right. Thank you, boss, for swinging by. Kiss and hug your wife. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I think we did about an hour. If anybody else has a last minute question, I will answer it. If not, I am here every Tuesday night about this time. This is the Office Hours Show. You can subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter. You can subscribe on Rumble. I appreciate everybody who supported the channel. I think that we had a good time. If there is anything else that anybody wants to know, just go ahead and ask the question in the comments after the show closes, and we can pick that up next week. But I thank everybody for swinging by. I hope these things help you. There is a lot of shows over on Rumble that have a variety of topics. I'm going to organize those better so that you can find them, and we'll be making some clips. And we'll have these shows on YouTube. But if there's a topic that's facing you in your writing, let me know, and we can jump on that. And if I don't know it, we'll have an expert on to talk about it. And there's a lot that goes into writing. It's not just the writing. There's the editing, there's the marketing, there's the book formatting. There's all kinds of stuff, and not everybody knows everything. But I pretty much know everybody who knows how to do a thing. And I think that would be very good. You all have a great week. And like I said, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Do you want to be more productive? How are you going to be more productive? Meaning, what are you going to use to write your books? And finally, where are you going to do that? You answer those three things, and you're going to write a book. I promise you. Have a great night.